COVID. We are, as we go live on this subject of hope, resilience, and healing in COVID era, which is what everybody in the world is talking about, looking forward to manage what is happening around us and get on with their lives in a better way. Let me present to the audience on YouTube, Facebook, and all live streaming here, Veronica Portugal, multifaceted personality, CEO and founder of Paideia Civica. Is it right? It's a non-organization which is doing capacity building in civil society. She has also been she's also been involved in very many activities. I will quickly touch upon that. She's a political science graduate, also an economics degree holder. She's a fellow of the Young Leader of Americas, which is a US State Department of State program. She has been summit speakers in global events in Lima, Peru, for the Organization of American States. The subject was anti-corruption, if I'm not mistaken. You spoke about corruption, anti-corruption. She is no stranger to India. She has participated in the Asian Forum of Global Governance in India. So welcome, Veronica, once again. I'm going to leave the stage all over to you. Explain further in detail about what you do and what is it that you offer as a message to the world on hope, resilience, and healing in COVID era.
Thank you for that welcome and that generous presentation. I am also to India. I'm so sad I am not there right now to taste all the delicious food that you have and all the things that you have to offer. But soon I will be back.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. And I'm sure India will be very welcoming and looking forward to it. Please carry on, Veronica. I'm going to mute myself.
Yeah, okay. So I am an economist, as you already mentioned. So I will talk about some policies regarding the recovery and resilience. First, as you already know, the COVID-19 crisis has been a very different crisis from those that humanity has experienced for many reasons. Since it began as a health crisis that was aggravated by isolation and containment measures to prevent infections, the health and economic crisis accentuated existing structural failures and inequalities. However, crises are also opportunities, no matter how hard it sounds. The economic depressions are also opportunities for innovation and destructive creation. It is needed a new deal for the recovery, but let's remember that the original New Deal was not about public spending. It was also about restoring safe investment long-term opportunities. Government power lies not just in spending, but in helping businesses overcome risk aversion and find new opportunities for growth. The way in which recovery will take place is currently being debated. The more optimistic versions stipulate that recovery will be V-shaped, and the more pessimistic that it will have an L shape, while others debate whether recovery will be a W. So whatever the form of the recovery, I want to focus on mentioning public policy measures to achieve resilience, recovery, and healing. And some of them appear in various OECD working papers. I will mention the working papers, such as Going for Growth 2021, Shaping a Vibrant Recovery, The Missing Entrepreneurs 2021, Policies for Inclusive Entrepreneurship and Self-Employment. And also it's important to mention one article for the World Economic Forum, The Future of Work is Here, 5 Ways to Reset Our Markets After Coronavirus Recovery. So the long-awaited recovery depends on measures that must be taken domestically by the authorities, but also measures that have to do with international cooperation and multilateralism. The ultimate goal of the policies to recover is creating more quality jobs, but some structural reforms are necessary to avoid future pandemics. I could list those measures in a total of 4. The first one is building resilience and sustainability. The second one is facilitating relocation and boosting productivity growth. The third is supporting people through transitions. And the fourth is international cooperation. I am going to go deeper with building resilience and sustainability. This is the capacity to detect and avoid risk, reduce the negative impacts of shocks when they materialize, and recover faster and stronger. This set of policies includes reforms in sectors such as healthcare, where the challenge is to avoid shortages in the number of health workers, avoid out-of-pocket expenses that lead to poverty. Also, it's important to mention the prevention of chronic degenerative diseases that increase mortality, as well as risk factors such as smoking, drinking, obesity, and malnutrition. Further, to say is that are needed safety nets that avoid poverty. Paid workers in informal and standard jobs often have less or no access to existing social protection. In addition, temporary workers, self-employed workers in small firms and women are more exposed to shocks. Specifically, women are more likely to be part of non-standard work contracts. Equally important is to addressing environmental challenges. Recovery presents an opportunity to put growth on a more sustainable path and to accelerate a green transition environment. Beyond establishing effective environmental policy signals, policymakers should be mindful of the three considerations as they attempt to engineer a green recovery and transition over the longer term. The first is the impact of policy decisions on relocation. The second one is the importance to have complementary policies, and also the need to design policy packages to ensure their public acceptability. Furthermore, enhancing trust and credibility with public governance and rule of law is very valuable to implement, since emerging research suggests that areas with high trust in public authorities had better compliance with the stay-at-home restrictions during the pandemic. Moreover, public sector efficiency, rule of law, and good governance are key determinants of confidence in public institutions, with important implications for productivity and public support for the success of reforms. On average, more than 1/3 of the resources spent on creating and maintaining public infrastructure is lost due to inefficiency, and better governance could make up half of the efficiency losses. Also, working towards improving basic infrastructure such as electricity, water, and sanitation is needed to achieve SDGs and leave no one behind. And finally, housing policy reforms that remove barriers to geographic or job mobility can mitigate the scaring effects of the recession. Overcrowding housing can undermine the effectiveness of self-isolation protocols, online schooling, and working from home. The second set of measures is the facilitated relocation and boosting productivity growth. This means removing policy barriers where they exist for firms to become more dynamic, innovative, and greener, thereby facilitating the relocation of resources. The third set of policies is supporting people through transitions. Policies should ensure that people are not left behind in transitions, so relocation is socially productive and builds resilience. This requires investment in skills, training, and easing access to quality jobs, particularly amongst vulnerable groups. And the fourth set of measures is international cooperation. Domestic policy responses to massive global health challenges, as demonstrated with COVID-19, can benefit from international cooperation on containing the spread across borders, improving the resilience of healthcare systems, harnessing the spillover for R&D, and coordination on the distribution of medical materials, equipment, and vaccines. Important to mention is climate change that needs international cooperation. Past experience shows that economic recoveries has been associated with recoveries in emissions. Significant actions are required as part of the stimulus and recovery packages to achieve a fall in emissions as economies recover. Also, international trade. The pandemic has shown the independence of our economies and the reliance on global markets and supply chains to absorb and react to shocks and to generate the economies of scales necessary to satisfy the global demand for essential goods. policy coherence, transparency, and information sharing on market conditions are policy are key ingredients in keeping trade flowing and helping firms manage the risk along their value chains in a predictable policy environment. And finally, succession of multinational enterprises, addressing the tax challenges of the digitalization of the economy. Globalization and digitalization have highlighted weaknesses in the international corporate income taxation rules. So efficient international cooperation in this area can help secure budgetary revenues and thereby helping to restore fiscal sustainability after the crisis. So there is a lot to do, but I tried to do a comprehensive speech about all the things that are necessary for the recovery. Some of these measures and the first to avoid future pandemics. So the vulnerable groups cannot suffer the most the consequences of them. Important to mention that also it's important to foster entrepreneurship and pay attention to women and children and young people entering the job markets. So I don't know if you have more comments, Ravi. Yeah, well, I think that we lost the connection with him. But my time is off, right? It's already over. Okay, so since I have like 3 minutes more, I would like to also to mention that identifying the jobs of tomorrow is necessary. The World Economic Forum stipulates that the jobs of tomorrow are the professions that care for people, support the planet, manage new technologies, and communicate products and services. So in summary are care economy, green development, sales, marketing, and content. Also, the lockdown has seen wide-scale remote working, increasing automation, a global revaluation of the core economy, and a visible lack of social protection within the gig economy. So as I mentioned before, it's important to pay attention to young people entering the job market in recession, because usually they are initial labor markets effect on them, and it is needed 10 or 15 years to recover from these effects in the labor markets.
Veronica, I know you can go on and everybody can listen for, it's a hot topic. Constraints of time says that we have to do the conclusion now. So will you wrap up with a message to the audience so that, and then I will announce the closure. What is the one you want to give?
The conclusion of this is that, well, some policies are part of the government, but also us as society and also as entrepreneurs, we can do many things. We can, as entrepreneurs, we can work in the transition, also to pay attention in vulnerable groups, to give jobs to women, and to young people entering the labor markets. Also, we can innovate in our organizations, and also advocate with our domestic governments and also in the international organizations to do all the framework to avoid future pandemics and to be more prepared for further crises.
So what you are saying, it starts from us as individuals and our corporates, and we don't, and as civil society, we need not wait for only the government to act. Fantastic. Beautifully put. Great, Veronica. Women Economic Forum is honored with your presence, the subject that you have taken up and the way you presented it. Thank you so much on behalf of everyone across this entire organization and the audience around. As a conclusion, Women Economic Forum, the Global Digital Annual 2021 WEF, which is what this is called. WEF is honored to present you with an award. This award is an award given for exceptional leaders of excellence. That award is conferred on you, Veronica Portugal, and this is a digital award, and you will receive it by email within 2 weeks. Thank you so much for a wonderful discussion in the morning in Portugal and in the evening in India, and in between these two times everywhere else in the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ravi, for hosting us, and it's a pleasure to be with you. So my heart is with India. So
Sure. And we shall meet again soon, whenever you we at the world,
yes,
with your
hopefully.
initiatives. Sure, of course.
Hopefully.
Hey,
Hot
bye-bye.
Thanksgiving.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Auf Wiedersehen. Yes.